Okay, who's ready to kick off the show? All right. If you've been watching the news at all, you probably heard a little bit or a lot of talk about Alberta wanting to separate lately. Have you heard about this? New polling suggests that most Albertans have little appetite to actually leave Canada. 36% saying they want to separate. That's according to Angus Reid. And yet, Premier Danielle Smith has now made it a little bit easier to trigger a referendum asking that very question. So what do you make of all of this growing separatist discourse in Alberta? Is it all talk, and what do we feel? Alberta, we love you for the record. What do we think? What do you think?
You know, I know this might be not popular to say in this room, but this is not just a few grumpy voices in the back room. This is a chunk of the Alberta population, right? And I think we have to understand why they're feeling this way. They don't feel like their voices matter. Think about this recent election, right? By the time we got to Alberta, the election was essentially decided, right? So they feel like their opinion, their voices don't matter. They also feel like their livelihood, which is oil, which is the flashpoint in all of this, right, is not taken seriously in the sense that the infrastructure isn't there to support the export of oil. So they feel like they're being left behind. The decisions in Ottawa are not reflective of what they see. And so I think whether you agree with them or not, I think we have to listen to them. We have to listen to their frustration. I think it's really important.
So but you want them to separate?
Of course I don't.
No.
Of course I don't want them to separate. But I also don't want to dismiss how they feel. I know it's easy to be like, oh, they're just, you know, but I think we have to listen to them.
Yeah,
We've seen history tell us that, you know.
We definitely don't want to dismiss, but don't you think the timing of this reignited debate is very interesting? Because this conversation wasn't happening in December when Danielle Smith felt very confident that Pierre Poilievre was going to win the election. And now just a couple weeks after Mark Carney wins, now we're having this debate again. And perhaps it feels a little bit like you're a bit of a sore loser. You didn't get what you wanted, and now you're like, you know what, we want to leave. And that's how it comes off to me. I don't know anybody else, but it feels like that because they weren't having this discussion. Danielle wasn't talking this way in December.
But no, but this is a long time thing.
I know,
like,
it's
this
been
is
going
not
on,
the separate years, decades. Alberta's been talking about.
Brexit as a thing has existed for
It
years.
has existed, but
thinking that it has been a thing in other provinces. If you think about Quebec, like I'm old enough to remember a couple of them, big ones in my lifetime. And the 95 one, it got so close. It was like 50 point something to 49 point something. They stayed, but you know, I wonder if the whole point of this, of Alberta sort of being like, hey, let's conduct some polls and see where we are, is to get to your point, to listen, because we're all kind of sitting up and being like, oh, okay, let's listen.
Is this a bit of a Trump playbook move?
I don't
like,
know.
You know, Trump decided, I'm going to tariff the world and put everybody on our heels. We freaked out, and then it's a negotiating tactic to actually get people to listen.
I actually am surprised, hear me out, that it doesn't happen more often. Like across all, if you think about Canada, we are relatively speaking a young country, and we're a massive country, and we have multitudes of people who have always lived here, and we have multitudes of people who have come from every corner of the earth, and we live together in borders, and we have a nation, which are all sort of human constructs, and we generally get along. And that, to me, sort of blows my mind. Like, generally, this goes well. So the fact that, you know, once in a while, Quebec, Alberta, it doesn't go well. It's like, okay, that it makes sense to me.
I think the bigger problem and the reason, because why don't states want to separate? Why? Because that's a big country too, right?
Yeah.
Like the Midwest is very different from New York, for example. So why? For us, I think it's because we don't have a national identity like Americans do.
Interesting.
So we have all these different provinces. Like people are very different in Quebec than they are in Alberta, in BC. We're also different, but we need something to kind of unite.
I think it's been happening since a guy named Trump got into office.
I think Donald Trump did that for us back in January and got us all on the same page and our elbows up. I think that happened definitely. It was a total difference in our attitude towards it.
But I don't want to ignore Trump's influence in all of this because I think the timing, to your point, Andrea, is interesting because I think now is the best time ever for us to listen to Alberta because something called interprovincial trade is hopefully going to open up, they say, by July the 1st. We're going to drop all of the nonsense so that we can easily do business with each other. So hopefully Premier Danielle Smith is going to get something that she does does want, which is to not just get her oil out, but to get it across our country. You know, I mean, let's drop
Isn't
those.
that the conversation that she should be putting on
Exactly.
the table?
But
That feels like
but
a
I think
conversation
we
that
also
all can
cannot
agree on.
ignore people. Like, look what happened in the MAGA movement, right? People who were ignored, they don't just go away quietly. These movements become bigger and bigger and bigger. We have to also pay attention to this and have some humility a little bit and say, look, okay, what are your concerns? How can we address them? Because we're one Canada, and right now, as you pointed out, it is more important than ever to not fight internally. We need to fight externally.
It's true.
Hey, you, come a bit closer. We've got so many more must-see interviews, spicy debates, lifestyle tips, and pop culture moments. So subscribe to our channel by tapping the logo below and don't miss out.